Marker 221. Testing. Rear end markers part 221, subpart A and B. General marking devices module 213. Module objectives. Apply FRA Safety Sheriff Association Yard Limit. Subpart A, General Scope Application Definition, Civil Penalty Waiver, State Regulation, Marking Device, Display of Marking Device Inspection, Pursuit of the movement of the defective equipment, Inspection Activity, Motive Power, and Equipment. Inspectors have primary responsibility to enforce Part 221. However, this does not preclude the OP Inspector of report of the deficiency filing violation not complying with Part 221 when discovered while conducting working operational practice discipline. Scope of this proper scope of the minimum requirement of the governing high visible to market device for the trailing end of the rail car over the passenger community with a freight train, so long as the minimum requirements are met with the railroads adopt the additional more with the stringent requirement of the rear end marking devices. Applicability of the regulation applied with the passenger community or freight train when operated with the standard gauge main track, which is part of the general railroad system of the transportation exemption. Regulations not applied with the railroad operated with only with the train with the consist of the historical antiquated with equipment excursion for the educational and recreational purpose. Train operates only when the track inside of the installation, which is not part of the general railroad system, transportation, railroad transport operation, urban area with the not connected to the general railroad system, and with the transportation railroad that operates only one train at any given time. History like blue signal with another regulation over the FRA required with the by Congress, while there are some of those lighted markers on trains and hand safety, there was just as many, but it didn't think so. But regardless of the different view of the regulation came to pass with the rail labor believed the requirement would save the cabooses for less jobs and successfully pensioned Congress to require FRA to the regulation turned out with an incorrect assumption because we all know that the technical advances still eliminated cabooses with a corresponding reduction of jobs. Application. The regulation of the first published, if there was substantial opportunity, the inspector ensured for the compliant with it. There was a lot of non-compliant with it. Non-compliance is rare. Inspecting with the device has become somewhat frustrating. It does not mean you shouldn't perform the inspection, but probably won't be personally satisfied when you do. Why? Application. Because of the rear end of the markers made agree with the technology, the two-way end of the train device, both with the FRA with the railroad industry, consider to be a good thing. Major loophole of the yard movement is to make the entire thing aggravating with what is the yard movement of the FRA of the yard training operated entirely within the yard limits. Let's discuss it. Application. We're not going to spend much time on it, so let's talk quickly about how to perform the inspections for the requirements of 1 hour before the sunset, 1 hour after the sunrise. There are only times you can find the non-compliant with what do you do if they perform the inspection 2 hours before sunset. Training is getting ready to depart with an 8th-hour trip. Application. If you already traveled without success to get with the market device prepared for the place, then you better get ready to chase the train, go down with the roadways and wait until the required hours to observe the train pass without lighted marker failed with the violation. What do you do if the road train does not have the operated marker is going to operate with the first 30 miles within the yard limits? Application. If it depends on the time of the day, but the train operated with the main track outside of the required hour with the non-issue, then left with the prayer to chafe the train and they operate with the main track during the required hours. Where violation is sown and the train clears the yard with exclusion of the yard movement, it does not play with the train with the yard that are going to operate both inside and outside yard limits. Application of the road train with the operative mark each of the limits of the terminal defined with the yard limits of the terminal with the capability over the makes of the repairs specified in Part 221. Guess what? The railroad has to stop the train when the make of the repairs as soon as the train reaches the terminal limits. Ask yourself, how much time am I going to devote to this given the safety issues I have in my district? Bear this in mind, motor power and equipment inspector does with the rail relatively comparable to the inspection of the end of the train device specified by the 232 for the whatever they are doing with those in the inspection to determine whether the not market device is function. Since both of the end of the train device markers show for the power show for the is very safe, rare that some see one function over the other not. Motor power and equipment the people are not going to be excited about with the yard limit issue. Are you? Maybe if there's a complaint. Learning objective review. Let's review the learning objective where state at the beginning with a smile apply the FRA safety standard, recall for the required hours of operation, be aware of the acquisition yard limit. End of module 13.